This is Civilization 7. We're here on PlayStation 5 Pro. Be sure to like the video. Subscribing is great as well. So this is the latest entry in the long-running Civilization franchise. It's a strategy series that I've been playing since I was incredibly young. I started with Civilization 2 back in the day. I actually even went back and played Civilization 1, trying to see what that was like, and I've been playing them pretty steadily, but not as much in recent times. Like I kind of just always go back to Civilization 2, which is kind of funny. That just seemed to be kind of the family game. You know, I played it. My father played most of it. Still is playing that game to this day. Still has the disc. I actually joke that it's probably the single best bang for your buck economically that's ever existed for a video game. I've never got, personally, I've never gotten the value of a video game like he has out of Civilization 2. Just thinking about it from like a price standpoint and stuff per hours, it's pretty crazy. So anyways, yeah, it's kind of a bit of a family game, this franchise. It's certainly something that I've enjoyed quite a bit over the years. And then this one is quite a bit of a, I guess you would call it a bit of a radical change to the series. And I still don't know how I feel about the change. Like it's a nice adjustment in the sense that like, hey, they're doing something new, I guess. Like, hey, they're expanding things, they're building upon the concepts of the last game, and they're just changing how you go about playing the game. But at the same time, to me, it's quite an odd choice. They've essentially changed the game into a situation where you are, I guess you would say, going through specific set eras. Like, you were always going through the ages, you were always trying to stand the test of time, but now it kind of like you evolve societally through like a few set situations. And to me, it's a bit strange that they went in that direction. Personally, I find it a bit odd, but you're either gonna accept the changes of things or kind of be a bit like thrown off by them. It's a neat idea to try to change up the gameplay formula. All the different Age of Empire games, all the different Civilization games kind of evolve things in their own way. So I've been playing a lot of Age in recent times, but they all kind of evolve things in interesting and different ways. And this is just kind of that current step, I guess you would say, in regards to like doing something really different and new with it. So you're either going to be behind that or find it a bit strange. But we're just going to talk about the game as is here and what it has to offer gameplay wise, which I still think is a pretty intriguing experience, something that's kind of engaging and fun, and a neat look at, like, I guess to a degree, history, but mostly like building up in a society and building up an empire through this tile-based sort of scenario in Civilization. I don't know, the Civilization games to me are pretty timeless things, and I have a lot of fun playing them. I know some people, maybe find this type of gameplay a little bit like uninteresting or maybe a bit boring, but for me it's always been kind of fun to play this franchise and to like explore and build up an empire and a society as you discover and research things, and the complexity of your turns continues to grow. That's why it's the one more turn kind of game, and I've always had fun playing these games. It is a bit of a change up for sure, which again kind of I find slightly perplexing as to why they chose to do that. But because if it ain't broke, I really don't quite get the point of fixing it. It's like it was fine as it was. There was no need to change things up. A narrative choice. Wow, listen to the senator. Against fiat. Build 3 monuments in this economy. There are greater pleasures in life than politics. I think I would rather take just the gold and not have to deal with the problems there. Temple of Jupiter. And then this game has a lot of changes in how you like do your stuff, like as far as like the in-depth levels of like, okay, your government, what are your people into? What kind of benefits do you get? Oligarchy. Wow, that one's pretty fun. Yeah, let's do that. Social policies. Okay. Yeah, okay. That seems pretty good. Always love me a good crisis. And oh right, what are we doing here? Spend time in quiet seclusion. Negative 100% culture for one turn. Recruit those who wish more for their lives. Anyways, kind of funny. Next turn. Alright. So yeah, it's a 4K resolution. It looks pretty clean, looks pretty sharp. It's 60 FPS. Now, obviously, a lot of, I guess you would say, this game's performance comes down to how things get in the late game, if that makes sense. Like, I mean, the modern, like, okay, so if you're playing on like a base PS5, like it's pretty good, right? Like it's not bad. It's pretty good, but like you do get an extra overhead here on the PS5 Pro, so it helps a little bit. It's not like it's gonna completely change, you know, everything about how you play the game in terms of like performance and stuff, but it definitely, I would say, helps a bit in regards to like those later game things where you might be noticing some performance type issues. Civilian Pathfinder, I guess we'll throw a scout in there and then we'll do the saw pit. Where do I want to build the saw pit? Right over here, I think that's a good spot. Okay, so yeah, no, it's quite decent. There's HDR support as well. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with the game from like a technical standpoint, a gameplay perspective. It's, you know, it's kind of Civilization, you know, and maybe love. It's just put on like console, and it's not too crazy. Like we've had, you know, Civilization games on the consoles previously. Like there was Civilization Revolution back in like the 360 era. You know, like it's a series that's been around on consoles. That was a really stripped down version, but then, you know, we had the full version of, what was it, Civ 6 and stuff. So it's not like a crazy thing, a foreign thing to have here. And I think they're even built a little bit in mind with the controller and with the console kind of being, you know, a focus. We've met another civilization already? Wow. And of course, there's all the diplomacy stuff you gotta deal with. Okay. We got all this management stuff. Alright, well, it was nice to meet you, Napoleon. I hope that we have great endeavors in the future. I also really like how you like build up your civilization, but like we've kind of had that in previous games too, so it's not really out of the norm that like you have access to the options to kind of like build out your city and do like the little tiles. It's just really neat because like the complexity changes that I've seen here are really quite interesting compared to... Oh, I see. There's like... Is that like a scout? Anyways, yeah, it's just really neat because the complexity has changed so much compared to when I started the game back in the day, like Civilization 2 to now. It's just... It is quite miraculous how much they've evolved the gameplay mechanics and the intricacies, and you really feel like you're building up like a little empire over time. What faction are you part of? Oh, it's a Napoleon scout. Okay, so it's those other guys that have seen me. Because I was like wondering how we were getting interacted with by others. I'm assuming it must have been just scouts that kind of walked by and stuff. Like, we're pretty northern, which is quite wild, actually. I don't necessarily love maps like that, but this is just kind of what I got here, and I was like, okay. I love how the terrain kind of impacts how much you can move and what you can do. I was wondering if we should be moving around or if we should just be like chillaxing and stuff. I never trust the other factions, but like if it does look like slower gameplay, like I said, it's a slow build. Plus 20% food for 10 turns or plus 30% production towards construction. So let's do construction. Alright, there we go. I like that. A narrative choice. A comet streaks across the sky, bright fire and gloom. Citizens murmur. But what is it? Divine authority, food, or war. I think we'll go for a food harvest. I am actually building like a structure, right? Okay, well we've got that going, and then it's like 10 turns. I'm just like, if we're just wasting that on there, but it'll help us with the cute building. A social policy in this economy? Just kidding, the economy's great back in this day. Look, you get to chill out with the horses. I think I should almost like fortify one of these areas up in order to like kind of hold things off, but I don't know, this is kind of nice. Like, I wish I would have had this to cover like at the launch though, so I could have been like streaming it a bit. I'm quite a big fan of Civilization, but it is, again, to me, very weird that they would change up the gameplay mechanics so much. Because it really is a timeless thing, but I guess maybe people get tired of playing the same sort of thing in different designs over time. I don't know. We're on the 7th game. It can't be, you know, too exhausting for people because they keep playing it and keep buying new entries. You know, I remember a time where I was literally sitting there and it's like every year we would just buy the new version for like Christmas for like my father and stuff, and you know, all the expansions and the updates. A scout. I don't know if I needed the scout actually. Pet the dog. Does that provide any sort of benefit at all to doing that? Petting the dog? Is that, you know, is that like a beneficial thing? Did I get any benefit from petting that dog? I guess would be my question. I mean, it's kind of hilarious because, yeah, you know, dog petting, but I'm supposed to grab that, can we? Okay, we're gonna bring these guys back. We're gonna kind of position these folks. Okay, there we go. But like, the more you play, the greater the complexity is, the more tech you get, the more things you evolve, the more things you advance. It's quite an interesting thing, and then, you know, you can go on the islands. Well, I guess you could go on islands, but you get the sailing, you do the boating, and you get to see all the little complexities of building what actually feels like a city over time, and it's a delightfully charming franchise, is what I'm trying to get across. And I know this one maybe isn't quite up to snuff in terms of like what you expect out of a Civilization game, and sometimes you sit there being like, I just want the, you know, the same sort of thing but evolved. And yeah, I guess you would almost call it a bit dumbed down. Dig up the remaining bones. This could be a winged dragon of legend. Okay, that's kind of hilarious, but yeah, we're not doing that. We'll just park you guys over here for a bit. Well, there goes the, there goes that. These guys are, causing some problems back in the homeland, and I'm not a fan of that. But I'm sure my strategy setup in this game is horrific too. I'm definitely, to a degree, aware of that. Perhaps it would take a lot of time to really kind of get acquainted with all the smaller intricacies of this game. I definitely realize that. But yeah, just because it is such an intensively extensive game. There's so many small things. Like each of the Civilization games, they play, like I said, similarly. But as I mentioned, they do require you to naturally evolve and learn strategies that best fit what you're doing and how you're playing in the game. And the better like understanding you have, the more it's like, okay, I specifically need to do this, I need to specifically do that. I don't like this thing, incite raid. Okay. It's time to move. Really going after my my scout there, eh? Thank you, Napoleon. It's great to be working with you. Choose production, ancient walls, a scout. Definitely want a settler. I'm thinking maybe some walls. Yep. Definitely thinking some walls. It's actually been quite a pleasure to play these games over the years. It may sound silly, but it's always been interesting to see just how much this sort of thing evolves over time and how every iteration does something new and exciting and kind of twists things a little bit. Oh, that's the edge? Well, that's not good. They've cornered my my poor scout over there. Who will win? Yeah, this guy is gonna die. That was a huge waste of time trying to build that thing. I do not appreciate this. My guys have definitely had better days. The Grand Canyon? A wonder? That's honestly kind of weird to have that kind of a thing. I get why, but like, because you wouldn't assume that a naturally occurring phenomena would happen in an Earth that's like ours, but isn't necessarily ours. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. Yeah, that's weird. The wonders thing, or that wonders and stuff aren't weird, but specifically that sort of a thing I find bizarre. I accept your treaty option. A nuanced journey through human history. Delightful. Oh, there's a marsh there. That's great. Hold the line. That's kind of putting us in a bad kind of situation, isn't it? Target. That's a lot of enemies. Anyways, lots of fun and interesting look, and I hope this kind of showed off Civilization 7 a little bit for you.